I actually fell into it by accident. My mom pushed me into it because I was diagnosed with kidney failure, and I went on dialysis, and she's like, there's nothing else you're going to be able to do with your time that's going to make you that kind of money. And she was right, because, there's a lot of time you spend on a machine, and when you're doing your I was able to make it work. So I started at 24, and I built my career while I was on dialysis.
That's amazing.
It was the right move for me at the time. It made sense.
Welcome, everybody. It's David Schnelly with another episode of the DC Talks. Again, I am David Schnelly. This is episode 114, Owen. Is that right? Thank you. Absolutely. We got some special guests for you today. I'm very excited to bring the two lovely ladies on the panel today. So we have, do you guys have a team name or no? Do you guys?
We do.
What is your team name?
The M Realty Group.
That's what we were just talking about. You didn't want to be M&M?
Yeah. We were at Meta Realty way before Facebook, and then we changed it.
We dropped the ETA.
Yeah.
So it just
kept the M.
So we got Murray and Monsura, said your last name correctly,
Yeah.
right? And we got Mary Jo Vladas. Did I say it right?
Yes, you got it right.
You have
I was practicing
accent.
off air, and I'm just like, Vladas.
Very good.
I always try to make sure I screw up names all the time. My wife yells at me all the time. So
I think that's pretty given. Like, we have such a diverse country that it's bound to happen.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. And you said half Greek, half Italian. What a great mix.
It's a lot of food.
It is, yeah.
And obviously Lebanese, we got Italian, we got everybody in the house.
Yeah.
That's it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I know Murray and I were talking online for a long time. We actually never met each other in person until
We
today.
haven't, right?
No.
This was the first time.
Yeah. It's
That's
so weird.
so weird.
And it's when you follow people on Instagram and and we have some history, we have
think you know
some
them.
mutual friends in the past. We
Yeah.
just assume we kind of met each other. And we
Yeah.
just never. And I assume
I
I
actually
met
thought
you too.
you guys knew each other.
Yeah.
So I was
I
in the
talk
dark.
like we know each other. It's like-
and I think the first conversation we had was about a month ago, and I remember that we were talking as if oh my
Yeah.
God, and it just dawned on me that we never actually talked on the phone. We just kind of messaged each other back and
So
forth. And
weird.
It's so odd.
I just come lately. I'm just like, okay, well, we're going to some guy named Dave's podcast, and
I just drop little crumbs, and she's like,
here's the write up, and I'm like, I can't read half of this because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so it's the way that I write, and it's the same idea.
she's used to it from me.
Yeah.
Like half the time they're trying to decipher my text messages.
Yeah, it's a riddle every single time.
Honestly, I don't think people realize if realtors didn't have ChatGPT or assistants or somebody else to correct our spelling, nobody would understand a word we're saying.
Well, somehow we managed. We've been doing it for 22 years, so that was long before ChatGPT.
I think my phone is conspiring against me.
Yeah,
It
I
just
think the
messes with me.
autocorrect
Telling
screws us up a lot.
sometimes the words that it comes, I'm like, I have literally never written this a word in my life. How does the autocorrect
know.
pull up these words?
Never mind that. Suddenly your phone starts sending you little messages about stuff you've been talking about.
Oh, I know. That's
No,
little
yesterday.
advertisements. And it's like, wait, it's happening.
Yesterday, my phone started bringing up things I thought about.
What?
I was so messed up. I was like, I know I did not say a word.
You must have. Or you must have insinuated something along
I
those
swear it was
lines.
something so stupid that I would not even say it. And all of a sudden, my phone started sending me ads about it.
I thought it was weird the other day when I was on, when I talk on the phone, I don't know about you guys, I never keep the phone to my ear, right?
Never.
It hurts my
Speaker.
ear, and heard that now with all the EMFs, and they say it's bad for you, can cause. Anyway, I just
I have
don't
the
like
Aries chip. Does that? What do we think
it.
about
Yeah,
those?
is that actually work?
I don't know.
I have it everywhere.
So an Aries chip is supposed to help with the EMFs. It's supposed to not cause brain tumors and all that stuff.
I've looked it up though, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I
You
think,
tried it
we
anyway?
got swindled. Yeah, I paid like $1,000. I put one in my son's room. I put them
Yeah.
everywhere, and
Yeah.
and then I did some research on it. And I'm like, it's not possible.
Listen,
$1,000?
I have them everywhere.
they're expensive, but
yeah.
if there's a chance that it does work, isn't
I
it
know.
worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Might
of
as well.
course, of course.
I just do everything, and something's going to work at some
I know
point.
we've switched everything in our house. And now, I just got everything from cooking too, right? So everything's cast iron pan now. I'm cooking
Yeah.
everything cast iron with just butter
Yeah.
or nothing, and there's other shit. And and now all the knives, the cutting boards, you heard about you're not supposed
Get
to
rid of
use
your plastics.
get rid of
I have
ice
silicone.
wood.
Everything.
Yeah.
So now we have all these metal ones, and I'm like, God, I'm just thinking, like you
How
said,
are we
you might
even
as well
still
try.
alive?
I don't know.
How?
How or who?
How are we even still
Oh, I
alive?
have no idea. Well, we come from the generation we never wore helmets. Like our parents didn't know
What? There was
we
no
drank
seat.
from garden
There's no
hoses.
seat belts. Like you had 10 people at a car and it was fine.
So not even that. I have two stories on that. My wife
She just took it somewhere else.
But it's true. Like you go to a drive-in, you're taking 10 people with you.
my wife's grandmother, like I remember we brought Amila home. She was like, she's 12, no, 14 now. And she would put her in a car. She's like, oh, that's a good idea. We never had that because they used to we all came in with in our parents' arms. Like they just didn't think about putting in a car seat.
You still go to other countries and they're carrying their babies on mopeds.
Oh yeah.
That's normal.
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And we went to her, we had a skating party when I was a kid, and my mom had an old Chevrolet. We put 15 kids in this in the back seat. It's like kids crawling on top of each other. Like that was just normal.
My parents were both smoking with the windows up, and all three of us are sitting in the back seat.
Yeah,
did I just?
Well, doctors used to say
my parents
was good
under
for
the
you,
bus.
right? So I mean,
yeah. Well, the coughing. Sorry, cigarettes were supposed to help with your coughing fits, right?
Yeah.
It was a prescribed.
Well, I remember commercials of doctors smoking and prescribing cigarettes, saying, you know, like,
Oh, actually,
yes. But that being said, so the cigarettes we have in today's is very different. So back, I think it was in the 80s, they figured out how to way to freebase so the nicotine could hit your body quicker. And I forget which company it was. I was reading this in Men's Health, and the rest of the cigarette company said you can't do it. They went against the FDA, and they're like, "There's nothing wrong with that." And then they changed. So there used to be real tobacco. Now it's all chemicals, right?
Yeah.
So that was the trigger point. Now it's just basically that's why when somebody smokes a cigarette, you get an instant high, right?
Yeah.
They hit your bloodstream so quickly, and that tobacco.
that's
all
the
dry.
addictive part.
Exactly. It's crazy. The nicotine's actually not a part bad. It's supposed to be medicinal properties for nicotine, but if you're smoking everything else, it's all very
it's the chemicals.
Carcinogenic,
Yeah. We didn't even start talking about.
I'm like, where we go?
We went all over.
Oh, it's good. No, I like this. A little bit of introduction. So, you guys have been doing they're both realtors, guys. You've been doing it for much longer than I have. You're saying for 22 years.
Both of us are 22 years.
I was right out of high school.
Wow. Did you guys know each other in high school? No. Yeah. But
Just a past life.
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
Marie, you grew up in a real estate family, right?
No, she did.
I did.
Oh, I thought your dad wasn't your dad a realtor as well?
No, my dad is a mobile crane operator.
Oh, I thought for some reason your dad was also a realtor. So it's your dad that's a realtor.
No, my mom.
Your mom.
My mom, my aunt, my grandfather, my uncle. Yeah, there's a lot of us.
See, we have a lot of hairdressers in our family.
You know,
Interesting.
every family has one trade that, goes on and on forever.
Yeah. So how did you know this was the right spot right from high school? You said you started.
No, I started at 24. I think I tried it when I was 18, and I just was not ready for it at all.
I can't even imagine at 18 doing that.
No, I think I didn't have the maturity level for it whatsoever.
I did, definitely.
I find that hard to believe.
Are your eyes brown?
Yeah, no, I actually fell into it by accident. My mom pushed me into it because I was diagnosed with kidney failure, and I went on dialysis, and she's like, there's nothing else you're going to be able to do with your time that's going to make you that kind of money. And she was right, because, there's a lot of time you spend on a machine, and when you're doing I was able to make it work. So I started at 24, and I built my career while I was on dialysis.
That's amazing.
It was the right move for me at the time. It made sense.
And then did you start working with your mom, or how did that work?
No, because she was also sick. She was already on dialysis at the time, so she was no longer working, and so she just gave me guidance, but she was already out of it by that time. I wish she was still in it because she was very smart. Right. But her generation and my generation were two completely different times. So sometimes the advice that she gave me was a little bit, past due.
Yeah.
So, but technology was changing so much, and I remember we were doing real estate back then with pagers,
Alphanumeric pagers.
Yeah,
Like drug dealers.
we were total drug dealers. Yeah,
pretty much.
Go to a payphone. We didn't have cell phones, right? So,
Oh my God.
oh yeah, that's how long ago. Like we started. No, there was no internet. It was dial-up, AOL. I think.
right.
Did you guys have
Hotmail
the
accounts.
big MLS books and stuff when you started?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well,
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, they had the listing books. I mean, that was the very beginning though. Like I remember going through the listing books for my mom because she was in real estate.
For me, the computers were going already.
We had the first version of Stratus, but it was sort of phasing out the listing books. Like there used to be the hot sheets. So I remember all this because I did it for my mom. Like I used to put the listings inside a binder for her, and I used to do flyers with the open houses. And
I remember the Pearlie's map book.
Pearlie's map books.
Those I remember. That's
when I
how
was
we got
coaching,
places.
Yeah. Oh, I used to have one in my glove box. I had, and I was a goalie coach.
Did you highlight the routes?
No, because I was a goalie coach. I had all the rinks in there too. So you just pick the rink, and it would show you the Pearlies and how to get there. It was awesome. It was nowadays everything's, even now I go to my house, I put it into my Waze, just I want to avoid
Yeah.
the cops.
Absolutely.
It's a
same.
double-edged sword, though, I think, with that, because I find sometimes it doesn't tell you the right way, and you go down a
All the
one-way
time.
street, and
Yeah,
Well,
but
no,
it's
Mary
still
Jo,
worth
I also,
it.
I sometimes like, where I know I'm going, it tells me, I'm like, screw it, I'm going here. I'll save like 5 minutes. I'm like, you're supposed to save me time. Why am I figuring
Yeah.
this my way? But yeah,
back when we had the Pearlies, though, I knew the city. You know what I mean? Like I memorized the maps. Like I would,
Mm-hmm.
you knew where you were going. Now we rely so much on technology that I think has actually made us dumber. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, agreed.
It's as much as it's really good. It's
Did your
Come
son
on,
have,
you still know where you're going.
wait,
I
let
do,
me ask you a
but,
question.
like-
Did your son have a cell phone?
he does.
What's his phone number?
I don't know.
See,
Exactly. That's my point,
that's my point.
right? Like
my daughters both have cell phones. I have no idea their numbers.
you know your kids' cell phone?
No.
No, exactly. Like
No, I'm learning it today.
Yeah,
That's it.
So my wife,
It's
I know,
happening.
I've known my wife's cell phone number because she's had it for like 25 years.
Yeah.
You know, like, but other than that, I would not know.
But I
Like,
used to remember all my best friends' numbers, my family's phone numbers. Like you knew them by heart. Now you don't have to, so you don't.
let me
Yeah.
ask you, do you remember your very first home phone
I do.
numbers?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I remember because that was
That's so funny. I never thought
we had
about it, but I do.
the dial-up. Like
That's right.
what was the rotary phone?
The
Yeah.
rotary phones.
Yeah, I'm like
I used to play with my
We're the
nephews,
only
too, because I used to play
generation.
with them, just trying to figure out what they're doing with those. Anyway, I was just to play have games with them too. But
do you remember when you had to do one number twice?
oh, yeah.
Like
You had to keep
it's
your
like-
finger in it.
Yeah, four.
Oh,
You guys
I
have no
just
idea what
didn't
we're
pay
talking about.
attention
These
to that.
rotary phones, they were like a game, man. It's
Yeah.
like you've seen them.
Where are
Well, you're in Nairobi. Yeah. I can understand.
you guys had the rotary phones?
Yeah, no, we used it till like 2001.
My grandparents still had that because my grandparents' house was archaic, so they had all that old stuff. So it was kind of fun to go back to their house.
Guys, MJ still has a home phone. I just
do.
want to say.
I do. And I
just got
had
rid of
the
our
other day I
office.
heard a
We just got
phone
rid of our
ringing. I
office
was
phone.
like-
It cost me $500 to move my office phone from
Why?
Bell. So this is a public service announcement. If you ever hire Bell, fire them. So we had services. My phone was never working here, but when I first opened up this office, we got the internet, we had the phone, and we had a cable TV. So we weren't using the phone. So I called them. I said, "Hey, can I cancel the phone?" Like, well, you bundle, it's going to cost you a lot. It's going to be like $1,000 to cancel because everything was bundled.
Oh my God.
They said, wait till the end of the 3 years and just
Did you
cancel
go to
that
the
one."
redemption department or redemption?
I forget. So we just kept it on, like, fine, whatever, right? And I wanted to get rid of the TV too because we don't really use internet here. Like, we're not watching, like, so I use my TV for, like, when we're having meetings, something too. I kind of project all from my laptop. It goes on there. It's pretty cool. And then I also rent out to a buddy of mine. He watches TV here once in a while too. But it's nothing crazy. It's all internet. We don't need anything but internet. Anyway, long story short, when we went to Kansas, we got rid of the internet because Bell was terrible. They couldn't service us. They gave us a runaround. And then finally we changed services. So we're like, okay, we need to cancel your services. They were going to charge us $1,500. I said, wait, you said at the end of the 3 years we can cancel. Like, but you auto renewed.
Oh my God.
I said, excuse me? Like, we didn't get anything. Like, oh, we sent it. He goes, well, you opened an email 4 years ago, so you must have read the policy. And that you knew it was auto renewal. I'm like, because I opened
This is
an
how
email.
these companies get away with it.
And I was like, what do you mean? Like,
Bell
so
is
we
actually the
assume.
worst.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
terrible. And they're like, and we sent you a piece of note in the paper that you're getting auto renewed. I'm like, you sent me something in the mail. You didn't email me. We don't get email. Like, I didn't get that piece of letter.
They don't
Like,
care.
They don't care.
No.
So anyway, long story short, I ended up having, they knocked it down to $500. Like, we're doing you a service by only charging you for one
I
service.
call the redemption department every 3 months. It's like in my calendar every 3 months, and I always have a discount running for all my bundled services. Like, is it the redemption department? Redemption?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So to keep you, yeah.
Re-
so the-
retention. Thank you.
Retention.
I'm like, redemption.
department.
That doesn't sound right. No,
Yeah, no,
retention.
the retention department. Yeah, because every time I tried to change off of Rogersville, they're like, "Oh, we got a new thing." I'm like, "Then just give it to me, right?"
They
Once in a
won't
while,
unless you ask
no,
for it.
and once in a while, Bell
So
will
you
just
call
pop
to
you up.
get like discounts?
I have running discounts on all my services
You are such
all
a
year
hustler.
round. Yeah, honestly, like it's the best because
I
I'm
do for
like,
my cell phone all
when
the
is
time.
my
You
thing
do?
running out? Okay, I'm gonna call on that day,
I just
and I'm
avoid
gonna.
calling them like the plague.
Yeah, but you
Well, no, you're
save
losing
so much money.
Yeah.
Like Rogers too. Like I have like all my family and everything's on one plan.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got them down. Like actually, they couldn't change my kids. I want to just add data. They were gonna like this one person. Also, if you go into the stores, they have no clue.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's so clue. Hey, for an extra $10, they each got their own phone, like their data and all that too. I'm like, that's all it costs. It took me months. Rogers had no idea. I was going to cancel Rogers. Now for $230, I think, which would probably get more as realtors, but I got like 6 products on there.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you'd
you
be surprised what
assholes.
you can get if you can ask for
Yeah.
it. I got my home phone for free. I have a fax. Like I have all that stuff. I make
Do you
sure.
have a fax?
I do.
when you, like, I was going to make a bad joke about how old you are, but I'll leave it
but
there.
I held it in.
I held it in. Like,
You know what?
did
Because
you ride in on your dinosaur on the way in and something like those songs? Like,
You know what? I have older clients. I've had older clients because I've been dealing with the medical field for so long. Like, I do have a lot of older clients who still use fax. So I kept it.
Once in a while, we get a fax at the office because, you know, we run on this with Royal LePage Signature there. Like, this is the satellites, but at my main office, we have the three. Like, when you wrote with Royal LePage at the shops at Don Mills, we have the Mississauga one, which is closer to here, right? And once in a while, I'll get a fax. And they're like, we don't know what this is. Like, the younger people, like, you got this fax? And they're like, and they're so concerned. I'm like, I also got the email too. And it's just, it's so concerning. Like, they're like,
funny.
If you put like a CD player in front of kids now, they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with it, or even like a tape cassette thing.
Yeah.
Like, and just give it to them and say, okay, figure it out.
But my daughter, my little one, wants to get like the vinyls, like the old school kind of.
Yeah,
vinyl
records
stuff.
are always going to be a
yeah.
They're
thing.
coming back.
Yeah.
My
I
love
daughter
records.
too. She's been collecting some albums. Yeah.
I feel like
It's
vinyl's
funny.
always going to be like cycling. Like,
Yeah.
it'll come in and out. Like, it's just,
I
it's
feel like
cool.
a lot of our styles and things that we liked, music is actually coming back. I can see it with
We had the
my
coolest
teenagers.
generation. Like, let's be honest.
We
with you.
did.
We had the best music in the 90s. We did. Like, we all grew up through the 90s.
They
It
can't
was-
come up with anything new anymore.
Well, everything cool nowadays, like
Yeah,
even the
it's
shoes
all
we're wearing, it's all
sampled.
90s stuff.
Yeah.
They're all just bringing everything back.
Everything's retro.
retro.
Yeah.
Or they're recreating all the good movies we had. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's still not as good as we had.
How many Spider-Man movies can you make,
Oh
though?
my God. And I watch them all. I like
I know.
Spider-Man. So
I have a 19-year-old, so I've
We're
seen them all.
we're that generation that's kind of like the in between. Like, we're the only ones that have seen everything. You know, we've seen that, and now we've seen that. Well, I guess the older
Well,
generation has.
Our
too,
generation's
but-
called the Zennials
Yeah.
because we are the in between the
The Zennials.
generation.
I thought we were Gen X.
No, we're the one in between. So we're not millennials and we're not Generation
Yeah.
X because we're the only ones that grew up in analog and then
Right.
was introduced to the digital age. So we
Interesting.
have both properties. So it's like it's a very small generation. It's like a gap for like 10 years, and it's like somewhere between like 75 or something like that, or 1978 to like 1985. So it's a very small
Oh,
group
interesting.
because we
Just
grew
learned
up in that.
Zennials.
Yeah,
That's
Never
the first
heard of
time
that.
I've ever
but
heard
it's funny
that.
because I've talked to people like who are like 5 years older than me. It's as if they're in like my parents' age. What's that?
Millennials are from 93 to 98.
93, 98?
I was going to say.
No, that's a Zennial. Anyway, that's his line. Anyway, there is a
We're
generation.
making shit up. We're making shit up.
Trust me. Don't listen to my assistant. Trust me.
She's
She just fact-checked you in the middle of a podcast.
She's worse than my wife. My wife would be on there. That's not right. That's not right. Always just trying to pick a fight
so
these
funny.
ones. but back to
You got
YouTube.
fact-checked on your podcast.
Oh, God. Surprise, surprise. Oh, you should see some of the stuff we talk about. We get fact checked on.
that's
we're not
funny.
talking about those topics.
So we're not actually Zennials then.
What's that?
We're not Zennials.
We are. I'll get the proper one from my wife. We'll get on the phone afterwards.
okay.
We're done this. And like,
Maybe we just misspelt it.
I
a
think
little
so.
bit. Yeah.
I think so.
Exennial.
That's what I need. Zennial. That's what,
Zennial is that is 90.
no. We're X.
Oh, he's not pronouncing.
Oh,
the
like a
X.
xylophone.
Yeah, xylophone with the X. It's pronounced Zennials.
Late 1970s to early.
Yeah, I was
you
right.
go.
Late 1970s, early 80s.
Okay.
I
See,
had no idea.
I was right.
You were right. You were right.
I was right. So, so back to you two. Like, I'm like, forget, like, so in our Zennial age, and I'm getting old and forgetting stuff. So,
Don't say that.
How did you guys actually? So, first of all, how did you start in real estate, and then how did you two get together?
So, I just knew I didn't want to have a boss. So I used to be.
If you want to not have a boss, become a realtor. Is what
Yeah, now we
Maria's
have
saying.
many bosses, but
Yeah.
that was the thought at the time. And I was a professional dancer. So one of the girls in my crew was getting her real estate license. And I was like, oh, what's that about? What do you do? How does it work? You don't have a boss? I'm like, okay, I'm doing it.
Wait, you can't just gloss over. I was a dancer. Like, where were you a dancer for?
I used to be a hip hop dancer.
Oh,
So
that's really
yeah.
cool.
So we used to tour with different artists and movies and commercials and things like that for fun. Yeah. It was fun. I've done a lot of crazy things in my life.
Yeah.
So, but then I became a real estate agent and I basically did nothing. I mean, I had the license and I was in an office and I was kind of assisting and working with a few big agents, but I was always, off like touring or then I started bartending in my 20s. Then I went back to school and became a child and family therapist, all the while still doing real estate on the side. I don't think I really took it seriously till after I started having my kids, which was about 15 years ago. And then I started doing some like self-development and just learning about myself and understanding why, like what my kind of blocks are with real estate. It was actually a struggle with real estate for a long time. Like the first 10 years were, do I quit? Do I do it? Do I like it? I hate it. It was just sort of like this love-hate relationship with real estate.
And a lot of that happens because it's in your own head because if you don't have a partner like you guys are, or like this team, like you're on your own. Like you basically on your own. Like you go into the office, but it's very lonely. Like
it's like nothing else. I don't know. I have not found another career that would be like this. It's kind of a hybrid of everything. Like it's good that I became a child and family therapist because I'm helping people through a lot of emotional stuff, right? And all the things that I've done have actually elevated my business because I have different spheres of people that know me.
I think
right?
the bartending helped. Like I bartended as well, and I remember almost being a counselor for people because you're at the bar and they tell you everything.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like that part of the industry probably prepared us to deal with people's emotional shit, which there's a lot of.
And then you
But I
realize
don't
you
know
can't
about
just
you.
drink your troubles away because like in the beginning of real estate, we were doing, like I was saying, that's not a joke. We drink a lot. I don't know if you guys drink a lot in the beginning of
Absolutely.
real
We
estate.
haven't
You realize
drank
you
in
can't do
over
that.
a year now.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
saying.
But we used to.
Yeah.
I mean, bartending is kind of a given. You're doing shots with your regulars.
Pretty much.
yeah.
I don't even know how we were counting money at the end of the night. But anyways,
Yeah, I think
That's another
when
story.
in real estate back in the day, especially, you work so hard all the time, so you almost needed that downtime. And for us, it was work hard, play hard. That was the the motto.
well, and also, when you're watching movies and shows and everything, we're kind of brainwashed to think that as soon as you get stressed, have a drink. As soon as you want to celebrate something, have a drink. Like something is, you want to give a gift, you bring a bottle of alcohol. So I feel like it's kind of been instilled in our lifestyle, in our society, that drinking is the way to cope.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a numbing mechanism where you're actually not coping, you're just numbing and you're just avoiding, right? So it's interesting. It's been
Conditioned.
layers. We've been really conditioned.
Yeah.
So I've just been we've been taking all that apart, and just peeling that onion. What's next?
I do get a lot of, I still drink, so I get a lot of alcohol, but I would love to, if people want to give me a tomahawk steak instead. I mean, I say, okay, could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Let's spend the money, give me a nice tomahawk, go down to like the cheese
I would
boutique.
prefer that.
Yeah,
It'd be
I don't think
amazing.
people realize the effects of alcohol over long periods of time,
Yeah.
like just what it actually does to you if you break it down. And we decided over a year ago to stop drinking. Kind of challenged ourselves.
Yeah, because we're
to
so
do it.
fun. We don't need to drink.
Well, you don't.
already
Like you get to a
fun.
point that you don't.
Listen, again,
And
what
we're
is it saying? Like,
confident.
you don't need running shoes to run a marathon, but it does help.
Fair.
Fair statement.
I've always liked that. No, I agree. Like this, I would say that too, but I've gone through bouts where I haven't drank and stuff too. But like, a lot of times, like I'll just wait till the weekend. I'll have like drink. Like I don't mind having. A drink,
I miss wine. I'm not gonna lie. Like I loved red wine, but
it's the Italian in you.
I know, but it doesn't love me anymore. Like
I don't know you, but like when I drink red wine, even one glass, in the middle of the night, Natalie laughs at me because I have a whole thing of Tums beside me.
Why do that to yourself? It's not worth it
Heartburn.
anymore.
It just it comes up because what happens, that flap, it gets relaxed, and it's like I've literally thrown up just from the acid.
It's not worth it.
Even for one drink. And I'm
It's unfortunate because it was so good. Like
So
I
good.
was waking up with shakes. Like my heart would be going and I'd be like shaking. So I just thought this doesn't seem like it's a good thing for me. So why am I doing this?
the
to
hot
myself?
flashes. I used to get hot flashes at 2:00 in the morning from drinking red wine.
And you weren't even going, were you premenopausal?
Not at that time, no.
That's what I'm saying, right?
No,
I
that's
don't mean
the thing.
I'm not joking. I was just like saying you're probably in your
that's
20s having
actually-
hot flashes.
No,
I'm
no,
like, what?
even like it doesn't matter how old you are. It's your body's trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's a toxin.
Oh no, it's like I was the other day. We were like, I was mentioned in the pod. I was having a rough day. We ended up going out, and I was like, we just ended up drinking like after dinner and stuff. And I remember the next day, I'm sitting in the open house, and my heart was racing, and I wasn't even
Anxiety.
doing anything. And I was like, this is not good.
No, it
This is
causes
not good.
anxiety.
It's-
I think we tell ourselves a lot of stories, right? Like, but I like it. I enjoy it. It tastes good. How many things do you like and enjoy that taste good that are good for you?
That's
Yeah.
true.
I know
Like the
I'm
Krispy
annoying.
Kreme
I know
donut
I'm
place
super
downstairs.
annoying, but there's a lot of things that you can actually like. I eat a lot of really good food that I really enjoy, or I just find things that I like that are also good for me. So it's just really what you're telling yourself, and also a lot of people use alcohol because they have emotional issues, right? And also like they're not open. So alcohol helps you, it takes away that the inhibition, right? So it makes you maybe do things that you wouldn't do. That could be good and bad, right? Like
Well,
I
helps
would
keep
rather
your guard
just
up a lot
be
of times.
authentic.
Like, so if you're not without the alcohol, because you have your guard up, if you
Yeah.
drink too much and your guard's down, I'm like, oh, I don't really like that I let that down, and then you feel bad about yourself. It's
I
happened
think
a number of times.
people use it as a crutch. It's just like, okay, well, if I have this glass of wine, it's going to make this a lot easier for me, or I need to calm down. Or I need to
especially if you're doing things that you don't really want to do, right? So let's say you have to go to this event, you don't really want to do it, you're dreading it, you just start having a few drinks. Then it's like, okay, it's not so bad. I just stopped going to those things.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just not going to do it.
I always find something when I'm not drinking, like, which is very rare, but what do you do with my hands? I need to hold on to something, and it's just like, what do I do? Like hands in pockets, or like, well, at least with the
This
drink,
is a loaded question.
Yeah.
Let's move on from this.
All right, I won't say it. But, so then how did you guys get together? Because you guys were in opposite world. We didn't even get to that topic.
There was a lot of drinking involved. We'll start with that.
So you guys met at a bar.
No, we used to work at Royal LePage together, and for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And
Which one?
Like 6. It was a long time.
Because I know she worked at Royal Page Signature. Or was it a
Estate.
different one? Oh,
Estate
Estate.
Realty
Okay.
in the
I was never
beaches.
with Signature.
I thought you said you were with Signature.
No, I was with your community.
Oh, your community.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because you were too for a period.
No, I've only been with Signature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I got in, like, I didn't know how good Signature was, and they just kept getting better and better. It's just
Yeah,
like, it's
Signature is actually a really good one.
really
yeah, I live near the shops at Don Mills one. That one's down the street, so I know a lot of the agents there.
Yeah, it's a good one too. Like
a good
I like it.
company.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
But back to how we met. You guys are just ADD. It's unbelievable. It's
Aren't we all?
unbelievable.
People don't understand.
Not
like,
me, of
when-
course.
Dude, you're one of the worst.
My wife hates having like parties with us, or our friend Jennifer Bordelis, like her husband, she goes, she hates because our mind are like bing, bing, bing,
Oh,
bing,
yeah.
bing.
It's
It's like
all
a
over
ping
the
pong
place.
ball in
Yeah.
my head all the time. Yeah, I know. We're having conversations, and it's very hard for us. This is why I make lists, because we're literally like all over the place, and we have to bring each other back.
Yeah.
Nice try.
I was just had a hair in my eyes.
Okay, so back to see how you guys met at a bar. No, I'm joking. You guys were at Royal LePage.
At the Royal LePage Christmas parties. Every year we would go to the Christmas party and we would be the first ones on the dance floors and the last ones off. And we would just laugh and have such a good time. And we're like, we have to do this. Like, we have to get together.
Okay, wait. We didn't know each other. Like
didn't- she
we
didn't even know my
only
name.
saw each other on the dance floor, and we're like, hey, I know you, and we just dance.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Like we wouldn't talk.
We would
nothing.
never try to talk to each other or reach out. We lied. We lied
I
to
used
each
to
other
call
for 6
her.
years.
I thought her name was Murray. Murray.
I hate you for that.
I know. I'm sorry.
like MURROY.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Every time you say that, I like you a little bit less. So you should stop that.
I have a new nickname for you now. If I ever want to piss you off, I'm going to start calling you Murray.
The point was, like, we didn't know each other, but we just, we connected on the dance floor, and then she had put together her and her friend had put together a trip to Costa Rica, like a retreat.
No, it was Zark put the retreat. It was his retreat, and he invited me. So then I posted it on my Facebook, and she piped up, and
Yeah, I saw it, and I'm like, hey, this sounds like something I could use right now.
and she's super avoidant. So
where did that come from?
at the retreat, so am I. But anyway, at the retreat, I was like, you know what, we should work. I just got this idea in my head that we should work together. And she, like I said, she just sort of resisted, and I just
Resisted for 2 years.
chipped away slowly, and then it happened.
You know what? I was on my own for 17 years. So the idea of partnering scared me. I was very nervous about, because it's when you're alone and you're used to being your own boss for everything, like suddenly being in a partnership, it's a big undertaking.
Well,
Yeah.
not to mention personalities clash a lot of times. I don't think people realize how like personality, because
It's
you
a
guys are-
marriage.
it's a marriage. It's
Yeah.
You have to
and like
both
everything
be
else.
willing.
But I always say that if you're going to get together with a team, there has to be communication, because
Absolutely.
Yeah.
if there's not one, like you guys always laugh about, like what you think she's thinking, you'll say something, but we were
Yeah.
talking about, like, it happens all the time. But
Yeah.
it happens in our, like, even on, like, my marriage and stuff too. Like, I'll send memes to my wife and I'm thinking one thing, she's thinking one thing, and she totally interprets the other way, and she was getting mad at me. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, like we were talking about the vaccine and stuff like that too. And I was like, I was sending her stuff, and she took like her first shot, and I was like, but we knew the side effects. I was not a candidate, long story short, but I was like, but I always assumed that she thought that she was the unvaccinated, not the vaccinated, right? So sending this means like, here's all the problems. She's like, why are you attacking me? I'm like, what are you talking about?
We've
You're
had
one
those
of
conversations,
yeah.
word for word.
And I was
we've
like,
had those
but I'm like, you're
conversations.
one of us. Like you, like we didn't, like you only. She goes, I had the first shot. I'm like, I know, but in my head, you're like more on my side than on like the people. That, anyway,
Yeah, but she
anyway,
took it
She took it.
personally.
She took it
Yeah.
the other way around. I was like, no, I was. I'm like, anyway. Long story short, it was like we had to have that call. I was
Yeah.
like, because you just assume like the assumptions on any relationship, whether it's a partnership, can kill a relationship.
Well, texting is the worst. Like one thing
we have a
learned,
rule now. We don't text. When
especially
we get upset,
if we're mad,
we don't text. Yeah.
because I mean it just makes it worse.
It's a war.
Yeah.
It's bad. And we cry once a week. Full disclosure. We actually cry.
Well, there's so
I don't know why that does not surprise me whatsoever. You know,
you know what, there's a lot going on in our lives. Like we're both single parents, we both run a business, like we have big lives right now, and with everything that's going on in the world, like there's just so many distractions all the time.
Yeah.
But
And
we have also, just off of that, we've also made a commitment to grow and to learn and to expose all the stuff that's not working. And you know what happens? You end up, God puts you together, and we just trigger the shit out of each other. So then it's like all
reminds
this
me of my
stuff.
mother.
Yeah, and she reminds me of my mother. So it's
I know.
it's a disaster.
Oh my God.
But we can communicate well, right? So sometimes we get a little bit heated because we're both big personalities, and but we love each other. So that's the underlying thing in every.
do you tell each other you love each other at least? Like
I tell her
That's
all the
he does more
time.
than I'm
Yeah.
more
I hug her
emotionally,
against
like,
her will.
Yeah.
And
like
I'm
I do with my daughter,
slowly-
my little one. And it's like, get here and just every
That's
morning.
exactly what it feels like.
yeah.
I'm not even joking, but
You know what? Since I met her, she's taken me more on a journey of like sort of self-discovery. Like we went to the Joe Dispenza retreat together. I've been to Costa Rica many times with her, so it's been eye-opening on a lot of levels.
yeah, she's amazing because she's really open. I know I said she's resistant, but it's just to a degree in the beginning, but like she has a really open mind and she has a really big heart. He just there's just some walls around it that we're navigating, and it's good. We all have that. I have that too. It just it manifests in different ways, right?
Yeah. So you just touched on before that you said you're both single moms. Like, is
Yeah.
that, how do you guys find that, does that affect your business? Like, it's obviously it's recent. Like when you were married when you first started, and you were too, and you both had your license.
Not
in the
when I
beginning?
first started, but I was married at some in
I know that's
in the middle somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, I thought like, and
I
like,
wasn't married. No, I was on dialysis at the time.
Right.
So I started building my career before I got married, and then I got married and had a baby and bought a house all in the same year.
oh wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't recommend that to
It's
anybody.
nuts how we do things like that because
Yeah.
I pretty much did the same thing.
We found out that we were pregnant at the same time. On
It's
our
weird.
birthdays are, hers is October 30th, mine's December 30th, and
Yeah, it's
like
pretty-
there's a lot of synchronicities there. But I don't know where I was going with that.
Oh, we're just talking about the single mom thing. And then now you were married, and like, sorry, you were in the
Yeah.
in the
So
transition.
I built
how
my
did-
career. Like I got married and I was building my career at the time. And then I had my son, and my son was born with cerebral palsy. So that kind of threw a wrench into things. And then I had my transplant, 14 years ago while I was building my, like, there's just been so many levels to it. But after I went through my divorce, at the same time, my mother passed away. So I think this is around the same time, a little bit afterwards, me and her partnered.
Yeah, a few years, I think.
It's not easy, I would say, like, because you're isolated, never mind being a single parent, but you're always juggling so many balls, between being a parent and managing everything to do with your kids, and then, running this business that's all encompassing on every level. You know what I mean? Like you're taking care of people's emotional well-being, the biggest investment of their lives, in most cases. It can be pretty heavy at times. But I think we're both very good at it, which is why we're still in it.
Yeah, everybody asks, how do you do it? I just say, I just do it. Yeah, that's it. You just do it. I mean, when you don't have a choice, you just
figure
do
it
what
out.
you're supposed to do. You
You
figure
know
it
what's
out.
funny, when you both talk about real estate, the thing what I'm looking for somebody when I'm hiring or trying to look for somebody to work with, nobody talks about money. You said it once about career, like, how to sustain yourself, but we don't talk about, like, that's never been your quote
not your
unquote
driving
driving
force.
force.
No.
And I try to explain that people, I know when people walk into my office, and I can see that from you guys too, if they say the first thing you want to do is, I want to make a lot of money, get the hell out of my office.
Yeah.
Get out. Don't even leave. Don't let the door hit you, because we're competing against 73 other thousand people on a daily basis. I don't know the last time you went for a job interview and had to compete against 73,000 other people.
Right.
If your motivation's money, you can be reek of desperation and money.
Desperation,
And it's
yeah.
all about me. Like in our business, I don't think we have to pour our souls out and explain.
Well,
like,
and you're
allow them.
ultimately there to help people. Like that's
100%.
really what it is. You are helping people sometimes through some of the worst times of their lives. Like we deal with people they've just lost family members. They're going through divorce. Many different scenarios.
You just asked me offline. They're just like, how many divorces are you going through? I'm like, a bunch.
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
How many probates are you guys going through? I'm going
lot.
through like, well, I'm going through.
Yeah.
I got a handful of probates and divorces. That's what I got right now. Like,
Well,
it's
or
like,
people who've
pretty
just made
much what we
very
have,
bad
too.
financial decisions in their lives, and then you have to help give them guidance through that. We've had people come back to us because they've had such bad experiences with their previous real estate agents, and then we have to bail them out of that mess.
And just on that note, what other business or career can you be in where people don't actually know how good you are technically, right? Like the average person does. You could be a realtor who's really good, and then there could be a brand new realtor who has really good marketing and they know nothing, right? And it's like apples and what is it?
Oranges.
Oranges.
Okay,
Apples and
thank you.
oranges.
I always mess the sayings up, but I still try. But anyway, so like you don't actually know what you're getting yourself into. So we're not only competing with people, we're actually competing with people who do not have nearly as much experience or, like are not as good as us. But yet
no negotiating skills.
we
not
are
even
still
communication
Right there.
skills.
but we're
Like,
still on the same level in some ways, like obviously our people know us and they refer us, and that's the bulk of our business. But when you are competing, it's kind of frustrating. Like you really have to know how to sell yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, now I think it matters more than ever. And I think we're back in a time where having skills matters. Like you can't be a good agent in a market where you've never negotiated anything. And we went through that, right? When the houses were selling themselves, agents didn't need to know a lot. Like they just put it on the market, the house sold itself.
It was horrible.
And that's when people were frustrated because they're like, well, why do I need a real estate agent? Because you guys don't do anything. And it's like, well, hang on a second.
Yeah.
We've been at this long before, in some of the worst markets. 2008 was one of the worst times ever.
Yeah.
And you have to know how to sell. You have to know how to package things. You have to know how to negotiate. You have to know different financial skills, be creative with mortgages. Like you have to have a good network.
There's so many things you need to know that people don't actually realize, and the consumer doesn't know.
Yeah.
The average consumer, right? So
Right.
Well, how many times do you guys go up against an agent which I'm like, I can actually take advantage of this person because either the company they're with or like the name of it, because you just know, like, so my buddy Chris and I was talking about this other company, I won't say the name, and they were on a team, and he knows that it's like they just need to, because they're getting cut on their team, like a percentage, they just want to get a deal done.
Yeah.
So he literally walked in and goes, there's no money. He goes, see guys, the seller's agent turned to the buyers and said, there's no money left, just take the effing offer. He said it right in front of his clients, even though Chris's guys had some more money, they're like, they didn't know how to negotiate. That's what happens,
Yeah.
right? And you got to be careful some of these big teams too, because just because it's a big team and you're paying full percentage doesn't mean you're getting the best person. You might get one of their lackeys who doesn't. They just, again, they're getting hammered
Yeah.
on rates and stuff, and they're just.
It's a
they just-
double-edged sword with
yeah.
teams.
You
Like
gotta
we
be
have a
careful.
team, but we have a small team, and our team is very specific in their roles. You have a stager, we have a network of people that we know we've tried them all, and we have lawyers that we can trust. We have,
Same.
our people. And we pass on those people because we're like, listen, we've dealt with this for years. We know exactly who we're dealing with, and you can trust them. And all the discounts that we get, we pass on to our clients.
Absolutely.
So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, it helps when my stager sleeps in the same bed with me, so. That's,
yeah, that is good.
that helps.
I actually don't get. I get a little bit of a discount. It's not as much as people think. I
Yeah.
actually, like, because she has a partner. They have the business, right? But I get a little bit. They give me something here and then. I talk to them. Like, I beat them up on price. I do, because it's like I pay for the staging. I don't know,
Yeah.
So, but I want all my listings to look great. But
Yeah.
But yeah. So back to the team situation. I find that too. Like that's why with us, I did a mentorship. I help. Like we keep the agents keep their own names. They have their certain things. We try to build them up with their own name, and like I help them along the way. It's not like, so when you're hiring me, you actually get me, right? And I find that. But I do help. Like we're going away vacation, they help some of my guys. I pay them to do showings, all that. Like they help me out, right? But it's still like,
Yeah.
I hate when somebody, like, I won't use the big names, but you know the big names. They hire that person, never shows up.
Absolutely.
One of my buddies, which I played hockey with, he's on a TV show, which is similar to the TV show I had. I'm not going to say the name.
I think we know who
and
that is.
And he's on like every.
Yeah.
He's on CP24.
Yeah.
So he hired him, never showed up. He said some guy didn't have a clue what he's doing, and it was just, and wasn't even in the area. And my buddy's like, well, my wife always watches the show, so she wanted him. And of course, and they had signed with him, and they ended up firing him. And I'm like, you've known me for years. He goes, yeah, but she thought you were getting him. I was like, man,
And that's
like,
a very common story.
Yeah.
Right? Like people will see a billboard and they'll be like, oh, that person has a billboard.
Yeah.
They must be amazing. And we know a lot of agents out there. And I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm just making a point that just because you have a billboard on doesn't mean that you're really good at what you do or that you're going to get that person's skills.
And you might even get that person, but they look completely different because their billboard picture
that
is
hilarious?
20 years old.
Is that hilarious?
Sorry.
I always look at the picture. I'm like I don't put my picture on it. I put my logo on stuff because I don't like that's it. I always laugh at like
we stopped putting our faces on our signs a long time ago. Like that's just that was the beginning of maybe I remember I had a white Maltese dog that I had on my cards.
Oh my gosh,
I got murdered for that.
That's the best.
The very beginning of my career, that was one of my first.
Did you also have one of these with your names crossed? Like
I
did.
I did. Stop that. I would like to take some credit for that. I was like, no crossed arms.
I hate that.
Oh
I'm
my
like, I always feel so bad. Like, I don't know what to do with that. I was out of power. I'm like, it was always so awkward. I never did that. I was just like, stop. And you can see the people just like they're told to do this. And
I
like,
know this whole.
They're
Like, are you
awkward.
are you a genie?
Like,
or are
yeah.
you like beam? I just never understood that. It's
Hard. It's hard to differentiate yourself. It really is something. Like we've been working hard at our branding and trying to make sure that we're not like everybody else. And
Well, and we're trying to be authentic, like we are who we are. Like who you see on our social media, who you meet in person, who you see out, it's the same person.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
well, we treat people like people.
Yeah, we're
like
just-
they're not a transaction. They're
heaven
actually.
forbid you do that.
I know, but to your point, right? Like a lot of people go in and they just look at it as a dollar sign, and that's just not the way we do things. And for us, we'd rather not take the business if that's the type of transaction it's going to be.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted you two on the show, even though like I felt like I know you because it's like I've seen the behind the scenes. You guys are like bumping into each other. Like there's that one video you guys had like one moment went
Or
viral.
Goofy.
Goofy behind the scenes. And there's all the bloopers and stuff too. And I'm like, these are my type of people.
Did you see our Amazing Race video?
I don't know if I saw that.
We
one.
got recruited to do the Amazing Race, which I wish we had done it, but when we did, we
didn't want to do it.
I really, really wanted to do it. We made it to the last final round.
I really wanted it. I was
really
like,
wanted to
okay,
do
if
it.
we get it, I'll do it for you.
Well, we found out that first of all, it's a month long. So you're gone. You're away from your kids, and not only that, they take your
business.
phones away. And then we found out, we spoke to some other contestants who had been on previous years, and they're like, "Yeah, you're locked in a room except for the days that you're racing."
Together.
Yeah,
We would kill
and
each other.
That was it for us. We're like, I don't think we can do this. So I think we would have gotten it had we been more receptive to that.
Yeah, we
once
were
they
like,
told us that, we were like,
so what do you mean
Can you
by
watch
that?
TV?
I don't know, but just the
can.
fact that you're locked in a
you
room.
just can't be
Oh, yeah.
outside like talking to other people because they don't want you telling
Yeah, I
people.
get it. That's kind of like a
I
prison
think we would have
sentence.
killed it though, honestly. Like
We
I
would
really
physically,
wanted to do it.
yeah, I think we could have done
I would
well,
have
but
left the first round. Like I'm out. I'm done. I'm done.
it
Well, taking your
sounded-
phones away and not being able to talk to your kids, like to me, that was like the clincher. I couldn't.
Yeah,
do
I
that.
did that once for 7 days for like a self-development thing. And it was
Hoffman.
hard for 7 days.
that Hoffman?
Yeah, that
Hoffman.
was Hoffman. And it was like, when I got my phone, it just like exploded. I think it like heated up, but
She actually took she took off social media for 30 days, which I was very impressed
which I
by.
actually loved, to be
Yeah.
honest. I
She
think I'm
did a
going to do it
cleanse
again
for
soon.
30 days, which you'd be surprised, like
was
how often
nice.
you're on social media.
Yeah.
Like I have a timer on mine that tells me exactly how long. I put a timer on it so I can not go past 1 hour a day, because I just find it's a rat hole.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just
Well, I try not to, like, believe it or not, like everyone thinks I'm on, like, it's funny because Elise does most of my posts, right?
Yeah.
So she does all the posts. I don't actually go on social media throughout the day because
Right.
I'm working.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid, right? But people
Yeah.
assume like, oh, I see you post this, and like they think I'm on it all the time. They're like, why didn't you answer me? I'm like, I'm not on my phone.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's like
Same
I'm
with
doing
us.
I'm actually working. I'm doing other things. Like, we're creating content. But
Mm-hmm.
just because that's the other thing is like when you see people online, you got to take it with a grain of salt. What we put on there is not
Yeah.
not made. It's me creating the content, but it's not always me doing stuff in the
Yeah.
background. And
Right,
so
exactly.
It's you got to understand that too. But again, it's a business, right?
it's a double-edged sword, and I'm finding myself shying away from it a little bit because of AI.
I know.
Like I'm just very I don't know. I'm on edge about it, but the manipulation and what it can do.
Yeah. Have you seen the new robots that actually can mimic people, like with tendons and fingers and stuff? And now,
I did.
That scared the shit out of me.
It's
And did you see the video that they've posted now with Donald Trump and Zelensky like actually fighting.
I saw my buddies have posted it. We have our St. Mike's group. We have like our graduating class have, and they're laughing about it. I'm like, I didn't want to watch it.
Oh
It's bad
my
enough.
God.
It's-
Like, it's just, I don't know. It's enough to make you a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I want to be.
I just want to go live on a deserted
you want to,
island.
yeah, you want to put your head in the sand. Like, it's too much. It's too much stimulation.
On that note, our cameras are dying. But no, honestly, guys, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us. This was nice.
Closing words. If you guys had any advice for somebody looking to be a realtor, regardless of like where they are in their journey, what kind of piece of advice would you give? The one piece of advice, and we'll end on
Looking
that.
to be a realtor,
Yeah.
do your homework. Like, honestly, a lot of people get into this business thinking it's going to be easy. We have all kinds of people always approaching us, telling us they want to get into real estate thinking it's going to be a cash cow.
Yeah.
It's not.
And
Like,
do some emotional healing because you're going to need it.
yeah, it's, you know what, it's like anything. You
I
got
actually really like that.
Yeah.
I like that too. You learn a lot about yourself in
Yes.
this business.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
You're by yourself a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
You
second
have
thing
to
I
be
noticed-
comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
And you
also-
have to be a go-getter. You have to. Like, it's not going to just come to you. Like, people think the business just comes. It doesn't. You have to get out there and you have to pound the streets the way we did in the beginning. Like, it's not instantaneous.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is like a lot of you said about self-help and everything. Like I always find like when you're on those long journeys, even the audiobook stuff really helps. Just keeping your brain working really helps. as well.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, guys. So what's the best way if somebody wants to follow you guys on Instagram? You talking about social media. If you don't want to, if somebody wants to follow, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
At the M Realty Group
Yeah.
with underscores in between everything.
Yeah. And we have a website as well, mrealtygroup.ca. Or you can follow Murray, or you can follow me, but M Realty Group
Yeah.
on Instagram, LinkedIn, and
it's
Facebook.
spelled Meray, not Murry.
Sorry.
Yeah, Mary Jo.
Well, thanks again, guys, for coming.
Thank you.
And for you guys at home, if you like this episode, do us a favor, like, share, make comments. We like that too. Follow, DM us. We always like to hear your comments. If you have any topics you want for us to talk about as well, we'd love to hear from you as well. But until next time, thanks again for coming,
Thank you.
and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.